Ranking all the clubs in Dark Souls 2. I'm hella unprofessional. This game is hella unprofessional. Let's do this. We'll move upwards from the lowest to the highest. How does that sound? This is how the tiers function. F tier is like unusable. They're just absolute dog shit. E is like, well, they're funny. D upwards is actually just usable. If it comes to about B tier, that's when the clubs become quite interesting. That's when they have either special effects, uniquely high base damage, uniquely good scaling. A is like a step above that, where it's like, hey, they function great, but on top of that, they have like uniquely good movement sets. S tier, in my opinion, the best weapon. So let's start off with the F tier. The absolute lowest club is the deformed dragon skull, or just deformed skull. It's okay requirements. 35 strength is not low, but you can already see a problem with it. It has no scaling. Its base damage is the absolute highest in the game though, at the same level as the giant warrior club. Another thing it has is bleed. Okay, bleed damage, pretty cool. And also it has 20 durability. It also has the absolute basic movement set, which I'm gonna show off right here. It's the swing into side swing. Heavy attacks, which is ground slam into swirly. Let's go to the second worst one. Now the second shittiest one is the Old Knights Club. Bonk. Bonk. See, the huge difference with this one is it has even less base damage. And the rest is practically the same. It doesn't scale, but it does have 5 points lower requirement. Shut the fuck up. It does have 5 points less requirement to use. 20 damage isn't the world at this point. You know, 500 base that sounds great, but it doesn't scale. This one doesn't even have bleed. Bleed is already trash in Dark Souls 2. And as well, this has the complete normal basic attack movement set. Nothing unique about it. It's fucking terrible. Also, it's heavy. It's really heavy. And it also has no durability. It has 30 durability. There's no positive to this one. It's legit a fucking... It's just a waste of pixels. Maybe if we give it a mundane infusion, it might do something. Only thing that makes this one better is slightly lower requirements and the fact that it won't instantly just break. Deserved F tier, bro. The Sanctum Maze. I think it's the only club in the game that has basic poison to it. It's not even good poison. Why would you use this? One unique thing about it is it has its first attack is the Lance Stab, followed into Basic Swipe. That's interesting. The heavy attack is a heavy double. It's the double slam, which is a not that favorable heavy attack. And I think you might have already noticed something else. I am poisoned because this weapon poisons you when you use it. On top of that, it has 30 durability. At least it scales A with strength. It's terrible. The only good thing it has is range. Next up we have I think it's called the Deformed Clam or something. Again, the complete normal base movement set, nothing creative, nothing interesting, no Ash of War, no special effects. At least this one is starting to have scaling. But it has lower A scaling, which means any other weapon that has A scaling is going to have better scaling. It's like the weaker A. The base damage is also like a lot less now. But hey, the fact that it has scaling makes it already far better than the ones before that. Also has 50 durability, that's good. Also, I think the one unique and good thing about this is that it has range. Next, we have the Great Club. It has the basic movement set. For a basic, just wooden club like this, you would expect that. I'm absolutely okay with this having a basic movement set. Positive, it has S scaling. Actually, like, the best S scaling. It's the best scaling strength weapon, I think, in this entire game. The one problem is its base damage is absolutely trash. It has good durability though. Another interesting thing about this weapon is you can get a +8 upgraded version of it in the DLC. The reason this weapon isn't higher up, even though you find a +8 version, is because at that point in the game, you just have better strength weapons. But you find the +8 one right here on one of these skeletons. Following the Great Club is actually the Giant Club. Now, the scaling is worse, which surprised me, but it's still a good A. Also, it has far more base damage, which means even with the better scaling, this does more damage. It has the exact same movement set, there's nothing different about that. Bonk. Bonk. The difference in requirements is 2 strength, meaning you can use these nearly the exact same time. You can actually find this one in the gutter. But it instantly has better damage, same durability, everything's the same. It's just barely heavier and has the tiniest amount of more base requirement stats. Next up we have the club. Yep, the basic club. This is better than all the colossal ones we had up until now. I'd rather use this one than any one before that. Not good range, but great stamina consumption. This surprised me a lot about it, is the damage. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Oh, fuck. See, that's 960 some damage. The ones we had before, the colossal ones, did the same amount of damage. It scales S. It's the shittier S, but it scales S with strength. That's great. And while we're at the small ones, let's instantly do the next small ones. Up next we have this one. The, what's it called? The only reason it's above is because it sounds very fancy when you swing it. Yeah, it just sounds nice. Also, you can use it as a catalyst, which makes it, in my opinion, a tiny bit better than the basic club. The scaling isn't going to be that good though, but it does have lightning and dark damage. I mean, mixed damage is normally worse in these games, so following is the this one. What brings this one above is it just has a bit more, yeah, it just has a bit more base damage, slightly better. Maybe not, I mean, again, end game build, it's still just slightly better and has a bit more durability. And right above that we have the mace. You know, the bloody spiky one. It looks absolutely terrible in this game. Again, nothing special, they all have the same movement set, all of them just dislocate the hand from the handle. Who cares? Has good base damage and bleed. Our next weapon is this one. If he's just gonna chill there, I'm cool. It's the... isn't German a great language? It's the one you get pretty much end game. It's the it's from those old hammers. I'm gonna show you from who it is. It's from him. The reason it ranks here is because it has good base damage, more than the other ones. It has 90 durability, that's good. Again, nothing special, this has the completely basic movement set. It just has higher base stats and scales good. Now above this one is actually the dragon tooth. I don't think it looks like a dragon tooth, but apparently is a dragon tooth. What makes this one unique is pretty high base damage, okay stamina consumption, and a, as you can see, unique attack pattern. The heavies are still exactly the same, which is sad, but the basic attacks are pretty nice. Hammer of the Iron King. Somewhat unique base attacks and a unique heavy attack. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Also, the follow-up heavy is the down slam, which is great, and it leaves you with stamina to still roll. Pretty good movement set. Let's test this. Yeah, yeet! Oh! Ooh. Hey. That's pretty good. One problem this has is terrible base damage, and the durability when you use the heavy attack. The fire damage isn't that good though. Despite the low base damage and the weird scaling, it somehow manages to do a lot of damage. I don't know why it does so much damage, but it somewhat works. I mean, that's nice. It even has dex scaling. The Belstead Hammer. Basic movement set. No, not basic, something unique of a movement set. The one-handed movement set is nearly exactly identical. Stamina consumption is pretty fucking good. Also, this is the heavy attack. It's very unique. It sends out these little darkness orbs. The homing is fucking terrible. Only B scaling? Not a lot of darkness damage? The heavy attack drains hella durability? And does like nothing? And it's heavy. I mean, the base damage is good. Next on the list we have this beautiful thing. It looks so goofy. It's just an anvil on a stick. Now what makes this one so interesting is actually the base movement set and the second attack. Swipe into down slam. Now up until now, all weapons had the down slam as their heavy attack. This one has it just as its base attack, and it actually does that amount of damage. Yeet! Look, 2400, that's a lot of damage. The only problem this weapon has is the heavy attack, because the heavy attack is now the swirl. It's not the down slam into swirl, it's just swirl, which makes the heavy attack practically useless. Since the swirl consumes... You can see how much stamina it consumes, it's insane. Who cares? Basic attack into heavy that leaves you with a insane amount of stamina. And you're not gonna get like longer combos on bosses or most normal enemies anyway. On top of that, it has a lot of durability. Another positive thing about it, you can get it somewhat early. It's just dropped by like a basic enemy that's directly next to a bonfire. Its requirement is 40 strength, which is a lot, but meaning, I mean, look at these two. This one you get way later. This one you get way sooner. It has a cooler movement set, and this one takes way less stats to use. But the damage is exactly the same. The same weapon, just one takes less to use, and has a cooler movement set. The Smelter Hammer. Holy shit. This is the by far biggest weapon this game has to offer. It is insanely long and insanely girthy. The bread and butter of this weapon is its heavy though. Bonk! And it even has a nice little follow-up heavy. Yeet! You're just gonna be using the first two attacks though. As well, it has like the longest reach. It's by far one of the heaviest weapons in the game. It has 300 durability. It also has 70 strength necessary to use. Scales with a good A, and has 500 base damage. That's just to use a basic attack. Bonk. If you connect to an NPC with the first one, with this, into the second one, they are practically stun locked. It doesn't break, you can constantly use it, it has insane high endgame damage. It's uniquely fun to use, it's very goofy, and it has probably the worst Ash of War in any kind of Dark Souls game, where you use up your entire stamina bar and do about the same damage as the basic heavy hit. Now to the absolute best hammer in this game, in my opinion, Giant Warrior Club. Now this thing has the highest base damage with the Dragon Skull. On top of that it has the good A scaling, and it has, on top of that, what I figured out, it scales great with all of these infusions. Fire infusion is better than the fire hammer. The darkness one, also way more darkness damage than the Belstead Hammer. Poison would also be way better on this one than the fucking Poison Hammer. And the second attack is great. Basic attack into down slam and leaving you with a lot of stamina to roll. You stun lock into grounding enemies. But let me show you. That just kills instantly. Ground slam! Now, the Giant Warrior Club is found in this giant memory, which means it is pretty much endgame. Oh, you didn't know you could backstab these guys? Yeah, you can. Alright, I'm done.